staff members to help fill out and then you pay them. That doesn't happen in the Western countries, so as far as I'm aware. Welcome back to my channel. It's Rene Marcus. Thank you so very much for tuning in, and if you're new to my channel, please do me that favor and press that subscribe button. So today it's all about petrol station health warning. So the reason why I decided to do this video is because a few days ago a vehicle explosion happened at a petrol station in Westfield. But before I get into the video to tell you details about what actually happened, I want to educate some of my subscribers that are not aware of when constructing a petrol station, the health and safety hazards that you need to include, because I see a lot of petrol stations in the Gambia that did not follow the right procedures when those petrol stations were actually being constructed. And I think this is very important for us to think about. Before constructing a building, we need to know the health and safety of that actual building, and also to understand and know whether what we're about to build could affect the environment. So first of all, I just want to go through some bullet points that I've noted down in regards to petrol station. So living near a petrol station could be very harmful. So I know most of you already know this. So living near a petrol station could be very harmful to your health. But also experts says that a minimum distance of 50 meters should be maintained between petrol stations and houses. So when constructing a petrol station, this is something that the constructors should always remember, that the distance between a petrol station and residential should at least be 50 meters away. 100-meter minimum distance should apply to especially vulnerable facilities. So when we say vulnerable facilities, we actually mean hospitals, health centers, schools, etc. The petrol station should at least be 100 meters away from such facilities. Also, research shows that even petrol station being 100 meters away, the level of pollution can still potentially be harmful. So which means that petrol stations should always be far away from residential or any public areas. So let's say, just look at the Western countries. Petrol stations are always away from residential properties. So you will always find petrol station a bit far away from where people live, or you will never see petrol stations in, let's say, in a shopping area and stuff like that. It's always distant away from where people live and where public gathering is always happening. The reason being is because the air at petrol station is contaminated with emission from evaporated vehicle fuels. So this is the reason why petrol stations should always be built away from residential. And if you were not aware of this, phones can cause petrol station explosion. So when I was younger and I used to go to a petrol station with my dad used to say to me, oh, make sure that you're not ringing your friends, because in the UK you go and fill the tank yourself. There's no luxury service, you know, like Gambia, how you would have staff members to help fill out and then you pay them. That doesn't happen in the Western countries, so as far as I'm aware. So in the UK, my dad always say to me, make sure that you have you basically put your phone away. But in the Gambia, people don't consider that. People just don't care. Just the other day, while I was noting down this, my mom phoned me and she was like, I'm at the petrol station waiting for someone. And she called me. I was like, bad timing, mom. Just as I'm writing this, you phoned me to tell me you're at the petrol station. So this is also something that most of our brothers and sisters living in the continent are not aware of. And also, smoking near petrol station should be illegal in the Gambia. The reason being is because it is a risk, as it could cause vapors being ignited. So which basically means that when smoking, it could cause explosion as well. So, but when I'm on holiday in the Gambia, I see people standing right next to the petrol station smoking. No one tells them anything. You don't tell them anything because you just can't, you know, you just can't see someone smoking and you try to educate that person. You might receive insults. But the reason why I started with this information is because a few days ago a vehicle exploded at the petrol station in Westfield near St. Teresa's Lower Basic School. So it's the primary school, St. Teresa's primary school. And the firemen arrived quickly. They came and helped out to turn the fire off. But there was quite a lot of errors that I saw, and I was like, I think the government needs to educate people more. Whichever department is responsible to educate the Gambian citizens should take responsibility, because I think a lot of Gambians lack this education. Just sensitize your people, educate them in regards to health and safety when it comes to petrol stations, when it comes to, you know, keeping clean, keeping neat, and there's so many things that we can educate our people. And it starts off by the government throwing out advertisements, educating people, maybe sending out people, educating people when they gather together, because you have a lot of people gathering in the Gambia, maybe selling, having meetings and stuff like that. So educating students as well, so going in schools to educate people about all these different things. But when the fire service actually arrived, which is the firemen, they turn off the fire quickly. It was so easy for them to do. They had the high vis, which I absolutely liked, because you could see them in the dark. You will know that, okay, this person, it's there to turn the fire off. However, on arrival, you will see a lot of people, a lot of crowd. People were just watching. People had their cameras out, filming the scene and everything. And when the firemen arrived, I didn't see any policemen, and I was thinking, okay, that's one error, because I was expecting for policemen to actually be on site as well with the firemen, because as far as I'm aware, when the firemen were there, the police officers should have also been there to block and also make sure that the site was secured and safe as well for the crowd, because people, you can't stop people from watching, but they can watch from distance, because that car was on fire and anything could have happened. Let's say explosion, the smell, the polluted air, people were inhaling that, and that could have caused some health problems as well. And people were also helping the firemen to turn off that fire without no high-vis, which was absolutely wrong. They shouldn't have been near the scene whatsoever. So this is why the policemen were meant to be there, because they should have blocked that area. The petrol station was also on fire, because when the car was on fire, the petrol station was also on fire. Even the roof, everything was on fire. And I was thinking, okay, this is very dangerous. There could have been an explosion at any minute, and people were right in the scene, right at the scene, standing right next to the car in flames, which was absolutely not right. And what I was expecting was for police officers to be on site to block that area, make sure that no locals were actually standing where the scene was. Petrol station was just, let's say, 10 meters, round about 10 meters away from residential, and there's a bank right next to the petrol station as well. So all of this were health hazards. So the police officers should have been around to make sure that residents were safe, at least evacuate those residents and say to them, you know what, there's fire, so we need you guys to leave your homes right now to keep safe. So that was something as well that should have happened, but none of that was happening. Instead, the firemen and the people were all mixed up, but you could differentiate the firemen because they had their high vis on, so you could see them in the dark glowing, but the locals you couldn't. So if there was an explosion, there was no way you could have identified to say, oh, there's someone that we need to save, or someone is there, because you couldn't even see them in the dark. So this is something that the government really needs to look into as well. Whoever's responsible in the health and safety of the people, to sensitize the people. I think this is also something that we really need to talk to our government about, and also to educate our people so that they know when incidents like this happen, don't go near it, because you shouldn't. You absolutely shouldn't. The right people are there to do their job, so let them do their job. You can film, you can do your videos and stuff, but do it from a distance. You can zoom it and see the whole scene, what's going on. This is just to keep our people safe. Thank you so very much for tuning in, and if you're new to the channel, please do me that favor and press that subscribe button. See you on my next video.